Whenever I was younger, my parents used to wake us up at the crack of dawn and drag us to the flea market. And now that I visited them as an adult, my mom did the exact same thing to me this time too. However, unlike when I was a kid, I really actually enjoyed the experience. When I was a kid, I never really understood like why they would make us go to the flea market, especially at like the butt crack of dawn, because who wants to wake up at 7 a.m. after a long and really hard week of going to school, elementary school for the most part, and then go to the flea market, am I right? But now that I'm an adult, I actually really enjoyed this time spent with my family just walking around up and down the flea market. My dad couldn't join us this time because he had to do a couple of things, but I went with my mom and brother, and I have to say it was one of the most enjoyable experiences I had on this entire trip back home. I really love going to the flea market actually. Haggling over things is so much fun, and in general it was just a really nice experience. We were able to walk up and down all of the different rows, see what everybody was selling, and it was just really fun. If you're new here, be sure to like and subscribe for more content like this. I love filming all of my different adventures for you guys. I really like all of the old-timey like stuff that they did to store food and things back then. I think that like having metal tins is just so much sturdier than having things in like plastic bags, or nowadays I've seen stuff being packaged in paper bags, which admittedly is a little bit better than storing stuff in plastic bags. I'd say that plastic bags are unique in that they're both poisonous for us because of microplastics, the environment because plastic doesn't really degrade, and it just isn't that like nice of packaging. Paper bags are a little bit better for us and the environment because they typically do break down. My main gripe with paper bags is that they're so flimsy that every time I have a paper bag, I'm like, I don't want anything to fall out, which is probably why most people prefer plastic bags over paper. But I have to say, every time I've gone to this flea market, people are always selling their really old cans and stuff that food used to come in like the 1950s or the 1970s. I'm not exactly sure what time period, but back in the day, they used to come in these cans, and I have to say, it's such a nice way of transporting things. Like, it's super secure, it's easy to open and close, it's just a much better aesthetic too. I really want them to go back to the metal like storage vehicles. I was also taking a look at all of these tools and stuff, and this is such a cool tool. I struggle to open cans and jars so much that I kind of really wish that I had gotten one of those little jar opener things. I also saw that they had all of these different like records and cassettes and DVDs and stuff. This guy even had a whole entire bin full of like vinyls from like the 1960s and the 1980s, and I have to say it is just so cool. I really like collecting old-timey media forms like that, and even if I wasn't able to get too many things from this store in particular, I really enjoyed that he had so many different things. I wanted to pick up some more things, but unfortunately I was just visiting my parents, so I couldn't pick up as many things as I wanted to. He also had all of this really old tech and just like baseballs and just like random bunches of junk, and I think that that's like the most amazing thing about flea markets. You can walk up and down the aisles and aisles and aisles of people just selling their life story or other people's life stories, and you can think about all of the different things that those must have gone through. One thing that I like about flea markets that I prefer over actual thrift stores is that you can haggle for basically anything at a flea market. I actually bought a couple of things from this guy, and I was able to haggle down basically everything. So the original cost of my stuff would have been around $15, but I ended up paying about $3. So that's a really good deal in my opinion, and it's kind of expected that whenever you go to a flea market or something like this, you actually do end up haggling, and that's just so fun. I think that haggling is kind of a lost art form that a lot of people don't do these days, but they totally should, because I don't know, it's just really fun to me. I also always enjoy checking out the books and stuff that people are selling whenever I go to thrift stores or flea markets or Goodwills or anything of that nature because I really like collecting books. That's one of my goals in life. I've wanted to do this ever since I was a little girl. I wanted to have my own in-home library. I think that that is just so amazing. I think that being able to have physical books, especially in a time like this, is just so important. Plus, whenever you're reading, there's nothing that hits quite as different as having an actual book that you're able to hold, turn the pages of, and just like peruse. It's such a nice feeling, and it's incredibly liberating too when you like get to the last page of a book and you finally shut the last cover. It's just the best feeling in the world. I actually got a physical book for the first time in like 15 years just last week, and I was like, dang, I really need to do more physical books. These days, I basically always just default to Kindle Unlimited or just like ebooks in general. So having a physical media is just really important. This is some of the old-timey media for music and stuff that I was talking about. This guy had so many different vinyls and from so many different places too. I love Mary Poppins, so I really wanted to get that one. And then I kind of kept looking. I was actually on a mission. I wasn't just aimlessly walking around. I know it kind of looks like I was, but I was actually on a mission when I came to the thrift store this day. Excuse me showing you this duck. This is one of my prized possessions I ended up buying. I put it back, but I did end up buying it. And this is one of the best things about getting to a flea market instead of like a normal thrift store. That duck were originally cost about $1, but I was able to haggle it down to 10 cents. Anyway, like I was saying, I was actually on a mission. I needed a couple of tools for different kinds of art projects that I was doing around my parents' house that they did not have the tools for. And I did not want to go to one of those big box stores and end up paying upwards of $20 for like a wrench or anything. I was like, I'm going to go and I'm going to look around all of these different stores and I'm going to find a wrench that meets enough of my purposes that I can make it work. Because it isn't like I needed a 9 by 3/4 of an inch wrench or something. I don't know anything about wrenches in case that's not obvious. But it's not like I needed a super specific size or anything. I just needed to get a wrench to twist some stuff off. And I was actually able to find a couple of wrenches when I was at this flea market on this day. I don't think that I got it from this store, although honestly I don't really remember anymore. It might have been from this store, but I got a couple of really heavy iron wrenches from like the olden times on this day, which suited my purposes perfectly. That is kind of why I'm like walking around looking at all the tools. I did find pliers. I did find a couple of hammers. I found a few things that were really nice, and if I was looking for them, I probably would have gotten them, but specifically I needed a wrench on this day. I also saw that this guy had just a bunch of stuff in these little like table bins. I don't know what you would call these, but I think they're like table bins. So I was kind of looking around. This seemed like the most promising part of the store. My mom and my brother were also helping me out because they knew that I really wanted this wrench, and they were like, we'll help you out if you need to, because I didn't want to spend so much money to try to get an actual like wrench, and they knew that I wouldn't want to actually do that, especially because I wouldn't be able to take it back home with me. I actually live basically across the country from where they are right now, so they were like looking for me, and this is when I actually ended up buying the duck. Anyway, that is all for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like and subscribe for more, and I will see you next time. Bye.